What's up, peeps? Nick Battle, aka Dino's Corner. We got Steve and we got Ty. We got the SEC Connect on today, man. Jay's going to be coming on here in a bit, and I think Chris. Everybody knows Chris is always late. He's the last one. Party doesn't start until Chris comes in. James Strice, what's up, James? Over under 707. I see. I see what you're doing there, James. It was under today. Okay, you good with that?
Under.
We saw to it.
It's all about getting everybody in. What's up, Boomer 129? Fellas, man, look, today we got some 2024 records, right? What does SEC might think all of the SEC teams are going to come in, for next year for 2024. Of course, he has Texas at 12-0. Yeah, duh. Right. And then he has Florida is up the rear right now at 2-10. I think I said, I thought Florida's going to win 4 games next year, but we'll talk into that, man, and we'll look into the schedules, especially Florida's, to see is Sunbelt Billy, is he in a make or break season here for 2024? And yes, there is the man Jay. He is in today. What's going on, Jay?
What's good, everybody, man? It's been a bit. Glad that we back together as a family.
I know, man.
I miss y'all's faces, man. I do. I really do. I
know.
want to fight Steven right now. Treat him so bad.
You guys
I still love y'all.
You guys
don't you throw your hands up. You ain't innocent.
he turned back channel stuff on in. Oh, man. All right. So Redman says, what's up, fellas?
What's going on, everybody?
Yeah. Boomer 129 says, what it be's Ty. Cameron Parker goes, yo. Hey, Jay, I was just, honestly, I was telling the people that we got the records here, from SEC Mike for 2024. And that, of course, he has Texas going 12-0. I mean, it's the only, thing that makes sense, right? And then he has Florida going 2-10.
I love fans. I was going to say that. I love fans. That's why I love y'all, because I love fans. Y'all know how to be fans, too. Y'all know how to be fans and have fun with this. So, yes.
Yeah.
Of course, it's natural that you guys are excited about a 12-0 statement. So, that's good.
Get out of here. But look, I'm going to share the schedule right now, man, because I think we got something very interesting here. Just to look at the schedules, folks. So he thinks that Texas, is going to go 12-0, Georgia 11-1. So basically, Georgia losing to Texas, probably, right? Because that's
So let me give some color. I actually watched the video.
Yeah.
From SEC Mike and all of them. So they had the guy from College Football Hourglass. Mm-hmm. And he has a model that he uses, kind of like Peyton, everybody else does, leveraging Vegas on picking, games, etc., whatnot. And so, what he did say is that he expects Georgia, because they're on the road, to lose to Texas out there. That is what his logic was with it, which gave y'all, the 12-0 play.
Okay.
I thought it was interesting. I was like, okay. That's interesting. I get it. I mean, everybody's very high on Texas. Y'all are returning most of your offensive line. You still got Quinn. You got your young running backs. There's a lot of logic behind that. Even though you did, and production wise, even better, you're ranked 5th in the SEC on offense and defense on returning production, which is still very good.
Yeah.
So the question is, if as long as everything comes together like it's supposed to, between 10-2 and 12-0. Is a minimum. You can't go any lower than 10 wins, right? It's how y'all set up. That Billy Napier deal down there, though.
Hey,
woo, boy, that's why I sent it. That's why I was like, we can talk OU in Texas all day, but nah,
man.
That
look,
Billy Napier, dog.
2-10, 2-10. I think in the back channel chats, I said, look, I think Florida wins 4 games, right? But 2-10,
right?
Ty,
hey man,
what you think about that, man?
That's tough. That's tough. And I've been saying this a bunch on my channel, on Kyle Henderson's channel, where God knows I'm live over there all the time now, where I've been asking everybody over there, who's got more pressure? And this is going to sound like an easy answer, but hear me out. And I want to hear from all of you. This is going to sound like a very easy question to answer, but hear me out. Who's got more pressure on them this year? Is it Mario Cristobal or is it Billy Napier? Now, understand when I ask the question. Billy Napier and Florida have a harder schedule, so I think it's easy to expect them to lose more games. But he has the benefit of pointing to that schedule and saying, we went through a gauntlet, and I did my rebuild a year after I got here, meaning I was already a year behind the curve. Mario Cristobal and them have an absolute cakewalk. if they don't do well, Miami and them, they're in a lot of trouble. Mario Cristobal inherited a very talented team that had Tyler Van Dyke, and he regressed every year under Mario Cristobal. Who's got more pressure? And I want to hear from y'all, because I think there's an argument either way. I just think it's super interesting.
That's very interesting, because I honestly think that Cristobal, next year he is expected to win, a lot. So I get it. But also, this is Napier's third year?
Yeah, I think they're both on year 3.
Man, if
they're both on year 3.
If Napier goes 2-10 in year 3,
yeah, he's done.
Just think about that for a minute. If he goes 2-10 in year 3, I don't think there's a right answer to this one. Honestly, I don't think it's the right answer. I think they're both underneath so much pressure. Cristobal has to win now. Napier has to get some kind of, juice and like some kind of freaking mojo to where he can muster up 7 wins. If he musters up 7 wins, I think his job's safe. But is that possible? I looked at the schedule. I don't think it's possible. I think the max they get is 4 games. So
Ooh.
it just all depends. Is Lagway going to be the guy that's going to start day one, and maybe he's a phenom, right? Like maybe he's a phenom that wins some 8 games in his first year. I doubt it. You know what I'm saying?
Hey man, true freshman starting early
does not work
in that conference.
Does not work.
Oh, yeah, massive mistake. You can't do that.
It's just not work.
That's adjusting to this speed. Even though he is a early enrollee, he still hasn't been able to really digest the speed of college football at the SEC level. He can be phenomenal, and he's going to probably have a really good season if they do force him to start. He's going to make so many freshman mistakes that everyone's going to exploit. All you got to do is figure out half of a tendency. Take that half a tendency, start throwing it at their face. Ty knows me. I hate starting through freshmen for that particular reason. Now, later in the season, I'm usually cool with it, but early, dog.
Nah, you
work.
You work a guy like that in. And Graham Mertz, look, Florida had a lot of problems last year. Graham Mertz was at the bottom of that list. He wasn't bad.
That's true.
Yeah.
And Graham Mertz, that he wasn't an issue for them. You start that guy and you ease in Lagway and don't screw up somebody's development because you're trying to save your job and justify it by, well, I was playing a true freshman quarterback. I think you kind of, Nico got to sit most of the last year at Tennessee.
Jackson Arnold sat.
They worked Nico in at the end of the year, and then Nico went off in the bowl game.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
That's what that process should look like. And now they're very confident in Nico going into next year at Tennessee. Florida, no. I hate when coaches do that. They tie their whole livelihood to the freshmen. Charlie Strong did that with Shane Buechele.
Sure did. Sure did. And we saw how that went.
Yeah, right. That's another good example of it. But you don't want to start a true freshman. Like, even a good example to me is Drake May. Drake May was a redshirt freshman, and they played him at that point. He showed out. But they didn't make him go out there and force him to play a true freshman. Noah Fafita, redshirt freshman. Like, the freshman word isn't it. It's just the
true
first
freshman.
time.
True freshman.
True. The true word is what gets you at quarterback.
Yeah.
Bryce Young sat behind Mac Jones.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Who was the last true freshman? Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the last true freshman that balled out? Was it Sunshine down there at Clemson?
Oh, yeah. And he didn't even start the beginning of the season.
Nah, so
Trevor Lawrence was it.
Yeah, man. He didn't come into game 3 or game 4? Somewhere like that?
4. That Kelly Bryant played 4 full games because
that's right, because Dabo was trying to game the system by playing Bryant 4 games so that he couldn't redshirt, right? And then he brought in, Yeah.
And so he transferred out because he could redshirt. Yep.
Also, that Clemson team was a juggernaut.
They were loaded.
Yeah,
they were loaded.
Fair point too. It's really easy to do it when your entire team is full of just elite players on both sides of the ball.
Everybody went to the league on that team.
Right. You have much stress. But the funny thing, and as you mentioned that, Steve, that's a very good point, because what the heck are we looking at Florida right now? Talent wise.
Oh,
what are we looking at?
Yeah.
Besides this class that he's currently got going, which looks pretty solid, but they're all freshmen.
Promising.
Like, do we really think that DJ Lagway and all of these freshmen are going to be able to do? We've never seen
fix their offensive line.
do it.
Their offensive line is horrible.
Thank you.
Their offensive line is horrible. And
you're in the SEC, bro. It ain't. We ain't talking about playing in the pack.
What have they
got? They got a brutal
portal?
schedule. They
I
have
do
a
wanna
brutal schedule.
I do want to answer Ty's question though.
Oh, please.
Oh, without a doubt, it's Mario Cristobal that has more pressure.
Yeah.
Without
Oh
a
yeah.
doubt to me. That his schedule's light. Comparative Florida has the hardest schedule in the country.
Yep.
And they're over under, Jay, correct me if I'm wrong. I think they're over under again is only 5.5.
Yes,
They're
5.5 again.
They're gonna come under that. I mean, but at the end of the day, like everybody and their mom thinks that Florida's gonna suck next year.
Now let me
At
be
this
fair too,
point,
though. I know that they opened at 5.5. I think it's dropped since.
it might drop.
Possibly. Possibly. I'm gonna share the schedules right quick. Let's look at
Yeah,
Miami's
let me find
schedule.
it too.
5.5.
So look, here is Miami's schedule. Let me take a look.
But I do believe that because I know that when I was listening to the show for SEC or whatnot, SEC Mike and them, but that SEC podcast, they were talking about of course, those games and explained Texas, explained Oklahoma's, in which Oklahoma had moved up to 8 in FanDuel's deal. And he's
Yeah.
like, my model says 9 minimum. And
Look
so
here.
that's
this-
basically what you're seeing with that. So I think Florida's may have dropped. They may
Yeah.
have dropped to like 3.5. I'm gonna look it up now, but I think
Possibly.
they dropped to like 4.5.
Look here, man. This is 2024 Hurricane football schedule, man. All right, so they got Florida first. They should beat Florida. Okay, they should. Then they go to FAMU. Well, yeah, they got FAMU in Miami. They should beat the brakes out of FAMU. Then Ball State. They should beat the brakes out of them. 3-0. Southern Florida, right? 4-0. Tech, 5-0. Cal, 6-0. The one that's going to be interesting is Louisville, right? I think this stretch here for these 3 games, actually these 4 games, right? I think that they're going to have a problem here in this 4-game schedule, right? I think that the defense is really good, for Louisville. So can they actually withstand that? I think they should be able to, and they should win, but it's at Louisville. Then they go to Florida State. So Florida State, they got them at home. That's going to be very interesting. Now, Florida State did lose Coleman, Wilson, starting quarterback. They lost a lot too. Curse on the look, they lost a lot of talent, but their coach is a good coach, man. He is going to find a way to win games. So I think that's going to be a big game for them. And then what does Duke do? Right? What does Duke end up doing? Can they muster up some good, games here,
Our boy
as well?
is over there now, Nino.
I know. It's going to be interesting, man. And then Georgia Tech, you can never sleep on Georgia Tech because of that option. And you don't have a bye week with Georgia Tech. You got to go straight from, playing Duke to going to Georgia Tech and actually getting ready for that option, right? So that's going to be interesting. They should beat Wake Forest. They should beat Syracuse.
I
look at
Don't
them.
sleep on Syracuse.
Well, I'm not
not
sleeping on them. I just think they should beat them. I just got a feeling. I look at Miami going 10-2. You know what I'm saying? I got them going 10-2. If they don't go 10-2, it's going to be interesting, man, because their schedule is definitely set up for them to succeed and compete for that ACC championship. They don't play Clemson, right, which is a big thing for them too as well, because I like Klubnik, right, and they have a pretty easy schedule, man, very easy schedule. Thoughts?
What if they lose game 1 to Florida?
Oh man, off the rails.
Somebody got to get fired at that point.
Somebody got to go.
Hold on. Can we? I don't know. If you lose at Florida week 1, I know it feels bad, but it's week 1. You're still playing in the swamp. If you win out until the middle of October, also that's the healthiest Florida's going to be. The problem with Florida isn't just their talent and Billy Napier, whatever questions you have about them. The problem is they have too many wars. They're going to keep losing people throughout the season. But if you play Florida in August, when they have everybody,
Florida. You're right.
That's different than playing Florida when we play Florida.
Can I modify the question then?
Yeah, go ahead, Ty.
What if Miami loses to Florida? After Florida has a player throw a cleat, Miami seals the victory and then fails to kneel the ball, runs it, fumbles, and Florida scores. What then?
Oh, man, he gone for real then.
Fire both coaches.
You can't fire Napier, man, because he won the game. You know what I'm saying? He's not expected to win, man. That's starting the season off right, man. Nah, you got to fire Cristobal. But I don't see them getting beat by Florida. Yes, I understand Florida's gonna be the freshest that they are, but Miami, that is the only real game they have for the first 6 games, right? And so they're gonna be prepared to play that game. They're gonna study all off season to play that game because they got a light schedule for 6 games straight, right? Now, Florida, let's take a look at Florida's schedule. Florida have mercy. Florida cannot just sit and say, you know what, I'm going to like actually study for Miami, and then once I game plan for them, then I got an easy schedule afterwards. Florida folks, if you guys see this, oh come on, get off of there. Florida starts off against Miami. Then they got Sanford. Okay, they should beat Sanford. Then they got Texas A&M. And whatever people want to say about A&M, there's still a lot of talent on that team, right? They got a lot of talent. Mississippi State, right? They're going to Starksville, which is going to be a difficult game, I think. I think Levy's going to have his offense ready, and it's going to be something that teams haven't seen in a while since he was at Ole Miss. Then they have a bye week. They have an early bye week. Then they got, Central Florida. They should beat Central Florida. But then they got a juggernaut, man. They got a juggernaut. Tennessee, Kentucky, another bye week. Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, Florida State. Lord have mercy. And why the hell they put the SEC championship game there? Because it ain't happening. Look at that, man. That's a string of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ranked teams as of, week 1 in the country. Starting with the number 1 team in the country, number 4, 12, 6, and 15. Florida has a freaking juggernaut. That's a schedule that, look, man, I could see Napier just saying, you know what? Merch, you're playing. I'm going to have a lot of freshmen play on the skill positions. We're going to take our lumps right now because guess what? We ain't winning too many of these games. I think in the back of his mind, he knows that. He doesn't have the talent to go 1-for-1 with those guys or the depth. He might have the frontline talent, but we all understand by week 5, week 6, when guys get banged up, do you have the depth behind that to fill in and still be great? And I think the answer is no. Thoughts?
Fair point.
Billy Napier could also say, if I win, if by the grace of God I make a bowl game, so that would be 6 wins. Like y'all got to give me my flowers, and y'all got to give me some more time here. Because I may have done the best coaching job in this conference if I win 6 games with this roster and this schedule. This is the hardest schedule in college football. There's not a harder schedule in college football, in my opinion.
Yeah. What's this contract like? How many years is this contract for?
Probably a 5-year deal that he initially signed or something like that.
Here, hold on.
Most likely.
Yeah.
I'm
checking it now.
If he makes a bowl game with this schedule, he should get a lifetime contract. You're not getting better than that.
Yeah, no, there's nothing. With this gauntlet that he has to deal with this year, if he's able to build the team to go bowl eligible this year, that team's going to be a monster next season. They have no choice.
Yeah,
but then he can underachieve at that point too.
So Nino,
that's a great point.
Florida State's ranked 15. Ole Miss is ranked 6. These are just right as of right now, right?
Yeah.
So like Georgia's 1, Texas 4. Keep going up. That's 5. That's 5 ranked teams
in a row.
Right?
Then they got Kentucky's ranked.
6. So 6 ranked teams.
6 ranked teams. Tennessee's ranked.
7 ranked teams.
All
right.
Jesus. Keep going. No. Don't stop.
Look.
Don't stop.
A&M's ranked. A&M's ranked. There's 8 ranked teams. And then they got 9 ranked teams. Look here, man.
Don't sleep on Sanford.
They have 9 freaking ranked teams, man. 9.
Hey, Sanford was outside a couple of years ago.
Oh, they were.
9 teams, man. Look, man. Florida.
9.
I feel bad. I feel bad for Florida.
Now, to be fair, one of these 9 teams, maybe 2 of them, it happens every year in college football. Somebody's going to be absolute trash that we just don't see right now.
Or
it's going to happen.
Injury's going to happen. Something
catastrophic. Somebody slept with somebody's girl in the locker room, and the whole season goes to shit before it even got started.
Right.
Or it's going to be Florida's going to be a trap game. They could definitely be a trap game. They got the talent.
Florida's a trap game.
You know what I'm saying? They got the talent, right? They have the frontline talent for the first 22, right? The first 22. I wouldn't say the first 22, probably more like the first 15 to 16. They got the frontline talent. However, it's that backup, man. It's those guys that are the depth, but they could be a definite trap game, especially to a team like Kentucky. I like Kentucky. They got a lot of talent on that team, all right? But what is their quarterback position going to look like? All right. How is that team going to function? I had very high, I had very high thoughts for them. I thought that they were going to perform a lot better last year than what they did, and they didn't. All right. I thought Devin Leary was going to be a lot better than what they had previously, and he wasn't. All right. So how does Kentucky perform? Because they don't have the depth either. They have great starters, great wide receiver core, really good defense. You already know Stoops is going to bring a good defense, but they don't have the depth either. They could be a trap game. They can definitely be a trap game. And look who came in with the trash. What's up, Chris?
Wow.
That's crazy. That's crazy, man. You know,
man. Hey,
trying
man,
to
we
be a
miss
dad,
you.
man, out here in these streets, man, and people making it hard on life. You know, that's fine.
We miss you, man. That's all it was. We miss you. We're talking about Florida's schedule, man, and is Sunbet Billy in trouble next year? What are your thoughts, Chris?
Hey, has Steven went yet? Because that's who I really wanted. That's what I came here for, to hear what Steven had to say. I didn't.
Yeah, man.
On. I've said my piece. Go
yeah,
ahead.
we said our piece.
Yeah, Steven cooked them. Steven cooked them already.
I'll rewatch that half of it. Okay, so is this to start the season off for Florida right here with their schedule?
Yes.
Well,
Yep.
and if I could ask you a quick question, right? Who's got more pressure next year? Billy Napier or Mario Cristobal? Now, as I prefaced it for everybody here, it's opposite ends of the spectrum. Both teams haven't been very good, but Mario Cristobal has kind of underachieved where Napier has kind of been trying to do a rebuild. Mario Cristobal has a super easy schedule. Billy Napier has a gauntlet. So, who's got more pressure?
It doesn't matter, but throw the schedules out, throw all of it out. The pressure has always been on Cristobal, in my opinion, especially if you go back and look at what happened, how they lost a couple of games last year on some bonehead decisions. So, I mean, the thing is that Napier, I would say this right here. If you want to say who has a higher expectation total or toll on them, it would be Cristobal. But we all know, because in my opinion, I think Napier is facing a different expectation, which is save your job this year or you're out, right? Yeah. Because it's not like his buyout is the Jimbo Fisher, wink, wink. It's not the Jimbo Fisher extension or buyout plan that a lot of people have had. But to me, right, it's obviously Cristobal. Cristobal has to go out there. You went out there and spent all that money on Cam Ward. You finally got yourself what we all would consider, if I could speak for everybody on this panel, a legit quarterback. So it's on him. It's on him. You have an easy schedule. We still have questions about North Carolina, about Clemson, about hell, next year moving on with Florida State. So I'm not saying that the ACC is wide open, but there is a lot of question marks, right? So it's obvious on him. Napier, for me, the expectation is just to survive, because this schedule is crazy. I mean, he just needs to survive. Yeah.
Yeah. And the crazy thing about him, man, so he makes about $7 million a year, right? So after next year, he will be owed around $30 million, right? So that's pretty much, I think his contract is fully guaranteed. All right, so
does Urban Meyer's restaurants got some extra bread laying on the
side? Yeah, he's actually you're right, because he did, because I remember I sent that in the chat, because he set his contract up pretty nicely as far as just making it a little bit tough year to year as far as what they want to do with the buyout, but if everything goes as Steven thinks it's going to go, then I would say, Billy Ball, boy, you probably are looking for another job next year, because I don't think Florida's it.
Yeah, so to answer your question, Ty, I'll chime in on mine. I honestly do believe that Cristobal has more pressure on his back. I mean, Steven, Nick, Chris, everybody made basically the same point of that Florida schedule is just ridiculous. And so he may get a little grace and mercy from some in regards to it, as long as he's competitive in all the games. But Mario's in the ACC.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are we talking about, right? Like, you're putting up top 10 recruiting classes. I think he's done I think the last 3 have been in the top 15 at least.
Yeah, and he's only playing 2
What are
ranked
we-
games next year.
Right. So if you're not able to work your way through this, bro, all I know is Florida State fans are enjoying seeing all of this between these two. They are loving how horrible the 2 other teams in their state is. So
Chris,
it's going to be
Chris
recruiting.
brought
It's
up
going
a
to hurt
great
them.
point too. The expectation with having a Cam Ward and you bringing him in,
Oh
that's
yeah,
huge. That's a Heisman
Yeah, it's true.
caliber player. That's somebody who you had to compete with the NFL draft to even get him to come to your school. So
I still don't understand why he did it.
I don't
going to
either.
Miami, it's going to be interesting because is he going to be the super duper transfer this year? That's like a Michael Penix was for Washington, or Joe Burrow for LSU. Or look at all these guys that have transferred and been the Super Saiyan type player for that school.
and
Or
then
is he going
balled
to go to
out.
Miami and be another De'Aaron King?
Oh, don't say
Like,
that.
I'm just.
Oh.
No, but this
I
is
ask these
such
questions.
Wow.
this is such a great question,
That is
right?
great. That is a good question.
This
though.
is such a great question. And so as I had originally asked this, it's funny because though I think it's such an interesting question and though I think it is a close question, I agree with all of you. I think it's Cristobal. And one of the big reasons is he's been a Power 5 head coach before. This is Billy Napier's first soiree. He had Oregon. And guys, kind of another question, when has Mario Cristobal ever elevated a quarterback? If anything, I think that Oregon scheme kind of hampered Justin Herbert. Now, you can say, how did they hamper him? He was a first rounder. He was a first rounder off of his talent. There was no other quarterback in college football that was throwing 33.6% of his passes at or behind the line of scrimmage. Nobody else. Nobody else. Then he gets Tyler Van Dyke, who was by all accounts going to be a top 15 quarterback in the country going into his sophomore season to watch. He falls off the side of a cliff in terms of production.
Well, Ty, with that point right here, so 2 things. Okay, first off, to your point, let's just be honest. Cristobal did that to himself. He killed his offense when he hired Dan Enos. Let's just be real. Let's be real
that's
about
true.
it. Okay.
True.
Second off, I think your point about never elevating the quarterback is valid simply because, and correct me if I'm wrong, I want to say that he was the head coach there when Herbert was there, right? Yeah.
Yes,
he was.
Herbert to me is I think that he's an above average quarterback in the NFL. I think he's had some seasons where you're like, hey, this kid may be onto something. Some seasons where you're like, hey, you're a poor man's Josh Allen, basically something like that to that effect. But what I'm trying to say is simply this: is that Justin Herbert is what Justin Herbert always has been. It's never really been anything that's just like, oh my God, like we've all seen the flashes. We've all seen just the, like, hey, that was average performance. We expect better than you. I mean, he was that at Oregon. So what has he ever, you know what I'm saying? He's never really changed. So I kind of look at that and just say that,
You're not wrong there.
what'd you say?
So you're not wrong there.
Just said.
I was just saying, man. I was like, I don't know. Cristobal to me is it's weird because he bumps out some really good offensive lines and has decent run games paired with that, but the quarterbacks can never get there. But again, I'll say this right here. We can throw out the Oregon stuff. Let's just be real. Dan Enos killed that train. I mean, when he hired him, I was like, bro, I don't
Chris,
know. Same thing with Pitt.
we can't assume. I'm sorry, Cam Ward is nice. I'm with you.
He's nice.
I know
Jay.
Oh,
Jay
no,
and Eno run that fan base. I'm
Yes.
not over there.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
he's
Me and
nice.
Nino got that one.
I love Cam Ward.
I'm not. My concern is not about Cam Ward himself. My concern is about Cam Ward under Mario Cristobal in this scenario.
Yeah.
Let's not assume
that's why I brought
it's
it
just
up.
going to be awesome.
But this is the crazy part about it. Miami's in a mixed up situation here because they signed the man to a 10-year deal. He has a 10-year, $80 million contract, folks. And he's only coached 2 of those years. So next year, what happened? Jay, what happened?
Whoa. So they're probably watching.
Who's that?
Folks in one of the discords that I'm in. Just posted something I got to say out loud. I got to say it. I got to because it's perfectly timed for this conversation that we're having right now.
We'll spill the beans.
Is there a rumor that Lagway might find his way up out of there?
Oh no! Whoa! Are you serious?
Has anybody heard anything?
I haven't heard anything.
Because
Ty, how about you?
Oh my God!
But where would he go?
What, he's trying to break? Isn't he there? Is he?
Yeah, he's
early
already there.
enrolled?
Well, he's an early enrollee, but he can transfer in the spring.
Right. I'm just asking. Like,
Fair. No,
is
no,
he
no.
trying
You're
to
right.
leave
You're
school right now?
It's been a question that just was posed. I'm like, whoa. That is wild.
That's kind of out the blue, though. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Look here, man. That's crazy.
Go like this. If that happens, that dude's fired. Napier's gone.
He's
that
gone.
morning.
Yeah.
Unless it's happening because they know that he's about to get fired. Like, oh my God.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to speculate yet, but that would be very interesting. But look, I want to talk about.
I, if I may, I apologize. I'm so sorry. I just looked it up on Twitter, and the only thing I can find is from a Knoll account. It's College Football Committee Hater. And he says, I have heard from several sources that freshman quarterback DJ Lagway of the University of Florida is unhappy since arriving, yada, 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 and that he's unfollowed Billy Napier and the University of Florida, like Gators football. But then when he was showing his proof of, like, the unfollowing, he spelled Billy Napier, Naypier, and Gators football, Gaters.
So it's a troll job.
I think this is one of those Twitter elite troll
It's gotta
drops.
be because
it's got to be. But I'm looking at this though. Message board genius always posts these funny message board stuff. There's a rumor last night that that DJ Lagway is going to bail due to NIL concerns, in which we already know that Florida's had him.
Jesus
We've
Christ,
synced it
Florida?
once.
That's true.
What are we
That's
doing,
true.
Florida?
We've synced it once. So this is something I don't
is
normally
Florida
pay
doing?
attention to message boards like that. But that one, I can say is logical because we've synced it. Aren't they under investigation right now?
Yes, they are.
They are under investigation right now because of that. So, yeah.
So they might not be able to get down like they want to get down. You know what I'm saying? Because they're under investigation, and that money probably promised to Lagway, which is through some NIL collective that probably doesn't exist, like A&M, is not legit. You know what I'm saying?
11, here we come.
That's where you start to see. To me, that's big. That's where I if I'm Billy Napier, I'm taking the stand like Nino Brown, and I'm saying this is bigger than me because that'd be 2 quarterbacks in a row, fam. Y'all let this other brother go to Arizona State over the bread. Yeah. Now we're gonna have a Lagway problem.
Yeah, that's not his fault.
On me. Come on, man.
No, 100%.
Get your NIL right.
Hilarious?
What's that?
So I don't know if y'all remember, but whenever the first one went to Arizona State, right? Rashada.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you remember his commitment stuff with Florida had the Lamborghini and stuff. Steven knows exactly. And then whenever he went to Arizona State, he was on a bike.
He got repoed.
Hey man,
look,
that's crazy.
Outside of that, if we could go back, I just got one question for the panel. Okay, who in the blue hell is Shannon Dawson? I think the only 2 on here that would really have any experience with that would possibly be y'all 2, Nick and Steven, since he was the OC for Houston the past 3 years. I mean, and Ty, I asked you this because it really goes to your saying, does this move the needle for you with Cam Ward coming in there and you pairing him with Houston's former OC under, I mean,
I'm looking at him now.
I'm not super familiar with him.
Me neither.
He'd be a Holgerson guy, right?
Yeah,
he's a Holgerson guy.
He is a Holgerson guy.
Yeah. So he was with him for a while, man. He was with him at West Virginia. He was the OC in 2012 and also 2013 and 14. He went to Kentucky in 2015 to be the OC.
So I guess the plan is to make this offense more explosive. Is that what I'm getting?
That's what it seems like. Yeah.
Couldn't be any worse.
They're more air raid concepts that they do. So I mean, it's just basically like you said, Chris. It's a preference of I don't know him as a play caller or him because Dana had a lot of control over his stuff.
That's true.
So this guy's probably going to have a different spin, but I'm imagining it's probably going to be the same
Same
scheme,
flavor.
Yeah.
right?
You know what I'm saying? Same flavor.
One thing about Florida though,
Yeah,
in the
go ahead.
NIL, this is kind of crazy because Nino, our boy DeAndre Robinson, who left
Who
Texas,
he just bought his mom a house.
he just bought his mom a house. I don't know if people have
He
seen this
did.
video
I
online.
love that video
Yeah.
because that's what
Tearjerker.
NIL's doing.
Yeah, it's
Tearjerker.
hey, I love it. I love it. So,
And
whew,
heesh,
I don't know,
good
man.
luck,
I
young
look,
man. Good luck.
Florida has had to learn from last year. They've had to learn from last year. They cannot afford to lose another top quarterback in the class, 2 in a row. If they lose 2 quarterbacks in a row in the class, like you say, Steven, that's not on Billy Napier. That's not. That's on whoever the boosters are, whoever is the collective head, whoever is heading up your NIL program, who's your GM for your school. Are they getting everything situated? Look, that's not
They'll
on
make
Napier.
Billy the scapegoat, but it's bigger than him, man.
It's bigger than him. Yeah, you're right.
Quick plug, real quick. All you high school recruits out there, all you college guys in the transfer portal, I know an attorney that could help you look at that deal to make sure it's not a 360 deal. Megan Thee Stallion, throw that out. All the rest of these artists, let's throw that out, okay? Come down. Holler at your boy. Let's talk. You know what I'm saying? Hit the DMs. The DMs are open. If you want to talk to my agent, talk to Ty. We'll be
Boy,
there.
you're stupid. You're stupid.
All
All
right.
right.
We gotta talk about this. All right, so this is starting to float a lot now. So
What's that?
we'll continue to abuse Billy Napier as well as Jimbo Fisher in the next round after this one. But I really want to talk about this. And Ty replied to me, which I love how he used the Michael Scott gift on me because it was perfect. So during the conversation, okay, as we all know, the college football playoff has finally set the 5 and 7 format for the playoffs, but it's only for 24 and 25. Most people don't know that. 26, they're proposing going to 14 teams.
Oh, wow.
So they're going to change it again. So that is the proposal. Now they met today to discuss this, and if they decide to go forward with it, it will start 2026. You will have a 14-team playoff, which will probably be like a 7 and 7 type setup. I don't know how they'll figure that out, but I digress.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is what's interesting. There's 2 things in this report that I read that I had to mention, and Ty's going to lose his freaking mind once I get to the end of this. First off, in the meeting, supposedly the SEC and the Big Ten said that they want 4 guaranteed spots, which of course pissed everybody off in the room.
Are you serious? So not the best teams, not the best teams. I just want 4 spots.
4 spots. It could be our 4 best teams. Period. The top 4 teams of our conference needs to go. Right.
From the SEC and the Big Ten.
And the Big Ten. That's 8 out of the 14.
So 8 out of the 14. Hold on, man. I'm gonna do some math right here. Go ahead, man. Keep going.
So that's the starting point. So of course we know what that's going to lead to, right? A future of additional games. So people are going to ask for more playoff games, right? Which I propose they're probably going to look at a 64-game tournament that starts at the beginning of the year and just plays out, which means we're initially going to revert back to what the hell college football was from the begin with. Like, what are we doing? Like, why are we in this at this point where we're trying to add more and more games to the end of the season? Because we already have one big problem right now. The transfer portal is set up to follow school schedules. Did you know next year's national championship is gonna be on the day that school starts back up? If it's not MLK Day, it'll be January 20th is when the national championship will be played next season.
That's crazy. All right, so listen.
School's going to be happening at that point. So how do you do the transfer? Like we talked about the transfer situation with like Bama and losing Saban so late.
This is crazy.
It's going to do nothing but become even more hell going forward. This is ruining the game.
So Jay, listen to this shit right here. All right. So college football rankings from 2023 before the final rankings. So the last week, right? Prior to the final rankings. So the 4 teams for the Big Ten, it would have been Michigan. It would have been Ohio State at 7. It would have been Penn State at 10.
Penn State.
And then the next one is not until number 17, Iowa. So you're telling me if they let that happen, that the number 17 team is going to jump Notre Dame, Louisville, Arizona, Oklahoma,
Yeah, just about every. Yeah, even better
Oregon,
with that.
right?
You know that Notre Dame is not even factored in any of these playoff formats.
Well,
No,
you know
the
what Notre
highest
Dame
they
used to
could be
do?
is
Join the
5.
conference, Notre Dame. Join the
But
conference.
that's
Notre Dame.
exactly what they're telling them
Yeah.
is that they cannot have a first round bye in the next 2 seasons, even if they're the number 1 team in the country, because they
Yeah.
don't have a conference championship to put them there.
So, all right. So hear me out here. So the top 4 SEC teams would have been Alabama at 4, Georgia at 6. Okay. Number 9 is Missouri, and then Ole Miss at 11.
Oh, so that might have ended up working itself out, anyways.
Yeah, but that number 17, Iowa, really?
Well,
That's
I
why you don't
hate
want
guaranteed. Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing needs to be guaranteed. It needs to be earned.
Best teams. It needs to be the best teams by record, by rankings, not this give me 4 teams. See, this is where the SEC and the Big Ten, they're trying to dominate the college football playoffs, right? It's like
As a long-standing member of the SEC, I just feel it's disgusting that we would even do that.
as a long-standing. Shut up.
That's
how you feel, Chris?
I have a take on this.
Yeah.
Nothing is going to change. Everything's going to keep going in this direction because nothing is stopping the money.
Oh, no.
Money. That's why they waited till just now to even negotiate and put forth the TV money, the TV contract for this upcoming season. I don't know. A lot of people don't know that. Joel Klatt was the one pointing that out, that they didn't even have an agreement in place when we were during the playoffs. They just now got that sorted it out, and it's billions and billions of dollars. So nothing will change until the money gets impacted. And it's going to require something to literally break in this sport. And I don't know what it's going to be first, because we've lost our ways.
Yeah.
In this sport. We really have. I mean, the transfer portal, the fact that we're in the college football playoff last year, and we're over here having conversations about, guys hitting the portal instead of staying with their teams, and teams like Alabama getting punished, teams like Michigan getting punished because coaches change, but they were in the scheduling of it is terrible. The fact that you have all of this, these playoff games, because the bowl games don't matter anymore, and these conferences are starting to realize that. So let's expand to keep people playing. Let's play more games. Something has to break in order for it to stop.
Honestly, man,
it's not going to stop. And here's the other thing. My last point. Jeff, what's his name? The Boston College coach, that Hafley, that went to take on the defensive coordinator position with the Green Bay Packers.
Mm-hmm.
College is going to start losing coaches if they don't fix this, because at some point it's becoming a burnout situation, and a lot of these coaches are starting now. Not everybody can go to the NFL. The NFL is only 32 teams. Let's be realistic. But you're starting to see guys go and take coordinator jobs and different things over being a Power 5 head coach, because they don't want to deal with this nonsense anymore. I'm not trying to re-recruit my roster,
especially the lower level teams, because because like the teams like the Bamas, OUs, the Texas, these teams in the SEC, Georgia, Clemson, A&M, they're going to retain their players, right? I mean, 9 times out of 10, they're going to retain their players. They got the NIL, they're in place. If a player leaves, it's because he's not getting playing time, right? And he sees writing on the wall. Other players on certain teams, like a BC, right, or like even like a Michigan State, those guys are looking to elevate themselves, right? And so they're going to jump first opportunity that they can, especially if their team is not in the limelight, right? And so you're never going to see BC and Wake Forest in the limelight. But if you get a good player that can shine, he's going to leave with the first opportunity to do it, NIL or like money or not, right? So here's what it is. What's up, Ty?
So there's a few things I'm watching in terms of, like Steven is saying, what's going to break to ultimately fix this. There's a few things I'm watching. 2 cases coming up in 2025 that are going to be massive. Johnson and House, both are dealing with pretty much analogous things in terms of trying to get back pay, right? Athletes trying to get back pay. And the reason why this is so interesting is because it was as recent as 2019 as courts were ruling that athletes couldn't be ruled as employees. But the reason why both of these cases are now so important with the Tennessee and Virginia suit against the NCAA is at the heart of it, it's all about the antitrust. Guys, Dartmouth's basketball team,
Got the union.
that could be the straw, right? And I'm interested in hearing Chris's thoughts because it was just in 2019 that you had, I believe, the federal court out in California ruling that they couldn't be ruled as employees. And now, Chris, you're going to hate me. I forget the case that deals, it has nothing to do with the
Alton?
NCAA.
Oh.
No, Alton is the one that set all this off, but it's the Supreme Court stating that yes, we might have ruled something in the past, but society has an ever evolving standard of decency, and we must keep that in mind when we do these rulings. Well, a lot's changing and changing rapidly. And Stephen, I got a quick question for you as I go into all of this because it proves my larger point. How much was that extension for the playoffs in terms of billions? What was it, 6, 7?
7.8.
Jesus.
Which is 1.3 a year.
Okay. So they just signed on top of what they were already making, mind you.
This is an extension.
On top of what they were already, mind you. $7 billion contract. The NCAA, to get out of the Alston antitrust suit, they didn't start revenue sharing to answer the they asked for you, the fan, to solve their antitrust problems while they rake in billions. And nobody's touching it. Does that not piss anyone else off? That this is a problem that they themselves have created by their inaction and their lack of foresight. It makes me seethe. I'm so angry.
I punched the air daily thinking about how just absurdly incompetent the NCAA has shown us that they are. Now, this new guy, Baker's trying to figure something out.
Yeah.
He's thinking about throwing something against the wall and see if it sticks in hopes. But their bigger problem right now is they're about to go through some lawsuits. These antitrust lawsuits are really it's going to cripple it. And to the point of, this is what I see. Once 2026 hit, the Big Ten and the SEC are becoming an AFC and an NFC type setup. They're going to bring in teams, 20 team leagues, and they're going to have their league, and then the NCAA is going to have everything else.
That's kind of okay. So you're prophesizing. Now, I will want to say this right here is that it kind of makes everybody on this panel has had a player or two that they have really cared about and they felt like really mattered to their team in whatever season, whatever circumstance that happened to actually be affected by the NCAA. So it kind of leads you to think that maybe it's this big old conspiracy of them just trying to distract you by saying, hey, Trajan Bridges won't be able to play 12 games the next year because of a weed infraction that he got in the game against LSU the season prior. I don't know. It just makes it makes you think about those things because you're like, man, I've been worried about these things that are really small on this scale when I should be worried about this because, at the end of the day, I mean, this NIL thing is getting as much as we want to say that it's getting out of hand. Whenever Ty explains stuff like that, when Steven says what he does, when everybody on this panel says what they does, it kind of makes you feel like, damn, I think things where they're at right now are perfectly fine. Right. So it's just literally an ongoing circle because that's what we're doing. And that's my problem with a lot of these big organizations like the NCAA is that we have 64 people trying to fit in one car to go to one restaurant that they can't decide on, right? Yep. And when life passes you by and everybody else is going and deciding, when you finally get to that restaurant, they're telling you, hey, it's going to be an hour-long wait. Do you have time to wait?
You could have went to Roost Chris and then you missed around and went to Sizzler. I mean,
exactly.
Y'all missed up.
Exactly.
Yeah, you had to end up at Sizzler because you didn't have a plan. All you had to do was put in reservations. Yeah. You knew everybody was going to be here. You knew everybody on this date, this time was going to show up.
But the NCAA so cheap, they're going to take them to Golden Corral. They're going to be like, hey, all y'all feed for a little bit of nothing. Hey, I want all the money.
Loogies.
Go ahead, Steven.
First off, make sure y'all hit that like button and subscribe a whole bit. Support the channel.
Support all our
It's
channels.
fun talking college football here in mid to late February. I you guys are talking about the NCAA, and I think back to Chip Kelly's suggestion for the future
Yes.
of collegiate sports, and I thought there was a lot of validity to it. Personally, it's my opinion, and I don't know. I see a world where I don't know. I feel like football should just branch off from the rest of the whatever all the other college sports are doing, because when you think about softball and volleyball and all these other sports, you know, Cal having to play at Maryland or Maryland versus UCLA, none of this stuff even makes sense anymore. That like this is all a byproduct of what football caused. And to be eliminating these local rivalries and these local relationships, it's silly. I think football, like I forgot who said. I think it was I, I think it was you, Jay, that brought up the AFC NFC model. I think that's football's just gonna. I mean, you guys are trying your best not to be the NFL, and I get it, but you're some form of a different type of pro model. Embrace that and go off and break away and do your own thing. Revenue share within your school, so you're still funding, your women's sports and all the other sports, because Title IX is a big factor in all this. But I don't see how this is sustainable while everyone stays under this model, and we're forcing all the other sports
Yeah.
to acquiesce
To
to
act the
how
same.
these conferences are built. I don't
But
get
Steven,
it.
I love that word.
this is going to actually break apart. It has to, because like we said here plenty of times in this show, football is the only sport that doesn't have a minor league. The minor league for football is college football. That's it.
Facts.
The minor league for NFL is college football.
I'll put it like this right here. The only thing that is keeping the floodgates from opening right now is that damn TV contract that the ACC signed.
Oh,
If
they
the
got a huge one.
ACC teams, if they were up for grabs right now, that would probably swing the pendulum. That would move the needle, as Ty would say. That would do all sorts of things, because that would expedite basically what you were saying, Stephen. That would expedite that process. If you can legitimately go over there and pull Clemson out of there,
Florida State,
as the SEC, Florida
Miami.
State. If you can go in there and do that, and then the Big Ten can pick off their teams or whatnot. And then I forgot who made that point. I think it was it UJ about Notre Dame needing to be in the conference. Who
That's
made
me,
that point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're both of
Well,
us. Yeah.
Yeah, either way, I think that would expedite a lot of stuff, because then with you taking the best teams out of those conferences, you basically are telling everybody else, hey, it's either put up or shut up. And then you would look at the Big 12 as well. The Big 12 would
Yeah.
have to be in there too,
Hey,
because they would poach those teams, because obviously, it would be North Carolina, Florida State, Clemson, and Miami, right? Those are the cream of the crop. The Syracuse's, and some of those other teams, Louisville's, teams like that. You kind of have to ask them, what do you guys want to do? Do you want to stay regional, or do you want to go to the Big 12 and try to play this schedule, or whatever the case may be? So, fact of the matter is, I think the ACC is the only thing that's keeping everything at bay right now.
And their contract's up, what, in like 10 years, Chris? It's a
Yeah.
long contract.
Yeah,
They
it's
got
a long contract. I mean, the buyouts are insane. They're not like OU in Texas, where it was like, okay, we'll just
60
wait
million
it
team or
out.
so, yeah.
Yeah, we'll beat up the league. We'll wait it out. We'll do our thing. We'll do this. We'll go from there, and then we'll pay it,
Do y'all
towards the
think
end,
that
or
the
get a
SEC
situation. Yeah.
Do y'all think that the SEC and the Big Ten are going to wait that long to do what they ultimately want to do?
I think they're going to do it in 3 years.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
giving it 3 years.
I think with the TV contracts and how everything is going now, progressing with ESPN and all the rest of this stuff, and Fox and everything, I think at some point, if the revenue is there, then there will be some type of, hell, I'll be honest with you, what's stopping North Carolina or Florida State or one of these schools from being the first school to like actually sue their way out of this whole mess, right? To basically be able to go and to force the ACC to basically go get an injunction to make everything, just basically be held in abeyance until they can figure this out. But who's to say that one of those schools has to force their way out through some type of litigation or whatnot? Because Ty, and you know this, Ty, just from reading some of this stuff. Some of these cases these kids are bringing up, especially this stuff they're talking about getting paid retroactively, it's kind of ridiculous. So why can't you go and file something that's ridiculous as well? Make them prove that it's frivolous. I don't know.
But this is what we knew was going to happen the second Kavanaugh took the stance he did in Alston, where it was just like so bold. It was like, oh, so just file suit against the NCAA, throw something against the wall, and something will make its way up to us, and we'll listen to it. I also, before we part, y'all know that meme of the Eric Andre show wherever he shoots Hannibal. Well, the meme we should make is Eric Andre has the label of Big Ten and SEC, and Hannibal is college football, and he's just turning around shooting him, and then the Big Ten and the SEC look at the camera and who killed college football? It's you.
Yeah.
You killed college football.
It's true, man. It's gonna be interesting, brothers. I say it's gonna be. Look, man, 3 years. 3 years, and the SEC and the Big Ten are gonna break off. And shit, it might not even be 3 years. It might be 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting interesting, and these kids are the kids are having an actual point about this with the minor league stuff, right? And, NIL is playing a big part in this too as well. And
there's too much money.
It's too much money
that they're making because live sports is the only commodity out there that guarantees year over year increase in views and money
every year. No matter how much people say that they're not going to watch it because of this, that, and the other, every year it increases. Every year.
Real quick, I've seen so many people complain about about Taylor Swift being
she brought
shown
so many
on the
eyes.
Super Bowl.
She brought so many eyes.
So many people complained about that. It was a whole bunch of people that told me that they wasn't watching NFL no more after Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah,
like I don't understand. Like, which one did y'all stop watching, or are y'all still? Which one is it? It doesn't make any sense to me. Make up your mind.
Yeah.
Why'd you come back?
Yeah. Hey, look, they came back 2 games into the next season when those Saturdays and Sundays got a little boring and their wife started getting on their damn nerves and they like, put on my team, please. That's all that was.
There's so much money. There's so much money in this, man. It ain't going to stop. So, yeah, we just got to be prepared that it's going to be a major change. It is what it is. Bread took
How
over.
we're consuming sports is changing too.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I mean, these streaming models are having the same battles behind the scenes as well. I mean, we all see it as consumers,
Yeah.
Right now,
commentators
YouTube
like
TV
us, analysts.
Yeah.
now,
that's true.
For now, but I mean, you're hearing rumors about Disney, consolidating with all these other random companies,
Fox Sports and
streaming package or something.
CBS. Yes,
it's happening. It's happening. All right, folks, man, it's been an hour. I've got to head on out here today, but hey, folks, thanks for tuning in. Wipe your feet before you come in this house, man. Go like these videos. Like, comment, and subscribe. It helps us out a lot. Go to all 5 channels, like them. Also go to the SEC Connect channel. Like this, man. But other than that, man, we will see y'all, I guess, in a couple weeks, guys, because I'm going to be out of country for 2 weeks. I just found out that I got to be out of country for 2 weeks. I won't say what countries I'm going to, but I will be out of country for 2 weeks in some foreign land. So I won't be able to hop on. So, yeah, it's going to be very difficult for me not to talk sports for 2 weeks.
I mean, you could do a stream, and the whole stream could just be a series of us guessing
where the hell I'm at.
Yeah, by you giving us a series of
I'll be in the hotel room. I'll be in the hotel room. Be like,
we might be able to do like a 15-minute break as like us 4 commingle and conference in and put our heads together.
The only thing is like, I think 7:00 here is.
No, that's too big of a hit. That's too big of a hit.
That's too big of a hit.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out, man.
Let's just say it'll be a whole different time zone.
Top secret.
Yeah, it ain't top secret, but it is what it is. Right, man. We'll holler at you guys.
Y'all be good.
Deuces.